Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim Chosey. I'm the General Counsel of U.S. Bank. Hopefully you've heard of us, located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. But my real purpose is, and the thing I'm most proud of course, is serving on the board of NLADA and chairing the Corporate Advisory Committee that April mentioned. For those of you that may not be familiar, the Corporate Advisory Committee, or the CAC as we call it, brings together corporate executives from a variety of industries, all of us being dedicated to equal justice and trying to work together to expand the availability of quality representation to those who cannot afford counsel. So we help and support NLADA, we do fundraising work, we do advocacy work, including with the LSC, as has been mentioned, and most of all, we support April and the incredible team here at NLADA. April is one of these leaders. When she calls me and asks me to do something, I pretty much say yes right away without knowing the background or the why or how much it's gonna cost or pretty much anything else. And it's really because I believe so deeply in her and her team and in this organization. So tonight I'm really honored and excited to present the Exemplar Award. So this is one of NLADA's highest honors. It's given to someone whose work embodies the organization's mission of advancing equal justice. And each year this award honors someone who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, vision, dedication, and achievement in promoting equal justice. And this year's honoree is certainly no exception. On behalf of NLAD, I'm super proud to present the 2025 Exemplar Award to Ben Weinberg, who is the pro bono partner at Dentons. I'm going to call Ben up in a minute, but I have a few more nice things to say, so get comfortable. Ben represents the pursuit of equal justice in every way. His career reflects NLADA's values of partnership, courage, service. His work has opened doors to justice for people in communities who need it most. He is an incredibly accomplished executive, lawyer, and professional. The things he has done and the things he's been involved with over the course of his distinguished career are truly remarkable, and they're just so representative of the Exemplar Award and what it stands for. For nearly 2 decades, Ben has led Dentons' global pro bono program, building powerful partnerships with legal aid providers, nonprofits, and communities across the country. One of his most impactful efforts is something called the Domestic Violence Appeals Project, which he launched with Legal Aid Chicago. And since 2013, this initiative has achieved incredible results, winning numerous appeals, including 4 published opinions, and improving access to justice for domestic violence survivors throughout Illinois. Ben's journey began at Legal Aid Chicago, where he saw firsthand the life-changing impact of civil legal aid. He went on to serve as a litigation partner at Jenner and Block, and then as chief of the Illinois Attorney General's Public Interest Division. He also served as law clerk to Judge William J. Bauer of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 7th Circuit, and his leadership extends far beyond his law firm. He's also a founder of the law firm Anti-Racism Alliance. He's a former president of the Association of Pro Bono Counsel. He's a member of PillNet, Pro Bono Leadership Council, and in his spare time, he's an adjunct professor at the Northwestern Law School. Over the years, Ben has supported NLADA during many pivotal moments, whether it was opening the doors of the Dentons firm for the launch of something called Just Funded, a national campaign dedicated to protecting and expanding federal funding for civil legal aid and public defense this past June. Also, the 2023 REI-DEI Summit, which brought together thought leaders, experts, and DEI professionals to remember the importance of cultivating joy while partnering to move the needle forward on race and equity. Ben's steadfast partnership has made a huge difference in the lives of so many organizations and so many people. Through it all, Ben has remained a tireless advocate for those who too often face the legal system alone. His work has strengthened communities, expanded opportunities, and ensured that vulnerable and underserved people get the justice they deserve. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in celebrating the 2025 NLADA Exemplar Award honoree, Ben Weinberg.
I'm going to put this down because I'm afraid of it. Thank you so much for that, that wonderful introduction. I only wish my late parents could have been here to hear it. They would not have believed it. So I get to speak about pro bono work and community and our dedication to our pro bono clients all the time. But what I always do is I always start with gratitude because I am full of it and our clients often express it to us as well. So first of all, let me thank the incomparable April Fraser Kamara. She truly is a magnificent leader, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about her and NLADA in a minute. Thank you to the NLA Board of Directors for this lovely recognition. And also thanks to Kate and Cassidy for actually making all of this come together tonight. Please join me in thanking them. So thank you very much to my firm, Dentons, and to our outstanding firm leaders. I'm very happy that today we're joined by John Holohan, who is our U.S. managing partner, and Sonia Martin, who I'm going to talk about a little more, who is the CEO of Dentons U.S. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for supporting our work. A huge thank you to, and congratulations to the NLADA Award winners. I loved hearing all about them and seeing their family, their lovely family. Congratulations and thank you. And to Michael Figgins as well. Thank you for the work that you do. It's so important, the work they do. And it's so important that it continues. And it's important for all of us to encourage them to continue the great work that they do. Especially thank you to all of the public interest organizations and legal services organizations and public defender organizations that really are the heart and soul of NLADA. The reality is, I mean, as Mike sort of alluded to, they don't get recognized enough. Us law firm people tend to get up on stage and get recognized more. They don't, and they deserve it. So please join me again in thanking them. So, I do have to mention one particular legal aid organization. It's because it's Legal Aid Chicago. It's both because, like Mike, actually, the only job I was going to have my entire legal career was to go work for Legal Aid Chicago. And that's how I started my career. So I love Legal Aid Chicago. But for tonight's purposes, what I really want to say about Legal Aid Chicago is that 13 and a half years ago, I approached them and to discuss a real problem in the domestic violence courts in Chicago, which is that the judges weren't following the law. So we came up with a pilot project to do appeals. And the reason they weren't doing appeals is not because they didn't understand how the system worked, is because they didn't have the funding stream to pay for the expedited transcripts that you'd need to get in order to decide if you should appeal. Well, at Dentons, we had that ability to pay for the transcripts. We did. We started the project, and as Jim said, 13 years later, we're 21-2 in appeals. We have 4 published opinions, and we really have had impact, fantastic impact on domestic violence survivors in Illinois. So I also want to thank last year's Exemplar Award winner, David Zapolsky from Amazon. Last week, I was fortunate enough to manage a pretty cool global research sprint with Amazon Web Services. And I want to say that the lawyer's dedication to that process really showed me yet again that David is a true leader in this area. So finally, I'm sorry to say my family can't be here tonight. They are spread around the country, but I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. My beloved wife and life partner, Lisa Morrow, and my sons, Eli Weinberg and Leo Weinberg. For those people who know me, they know that Lisa and Eli and Leo truly are the engine that has driven me my entire career, regardless of what I was doing. All right, enough with the gratitude. Okay, so look. Pro bono and law firms have been in the news a lot this year, and not in a great way. It hasn't been super positive. We in the pro bono world are used to being exalted and praised, and this year that has not what has been happening. And so what I want to talk about though a little bit is what the media is not talking about pro bono. And really, it's the part that has always been true. And so the reality is that Dentons, like all the law firms that are represented here, certainly the Beacon of Justice Award winners, we're made up of people who care deeply about our communities and care deeply about our clients in the community. So I mentioned our US CEO, Sonia Martin, was here. So when I learned last year, I think it was about 2 years ago when we met with Children's Law Center here, that actually that's what Sonia wanted to do after law school, and she had applied. I'm sorry she was unsuccessful in that, so I'm revealing that. And she probably didn't know at the time she was going to become the CEO of a massive law firm, hugely profitable and all that, because all she wanted to do was go work at the Children's Law Center. And when Sonia became the CEO, I met with her and I said, I have to let you know that last year our pro bono hours went down 1.2%. And I sort of was like, and she said to me, like, what are you talking about? I don't care about up and down 1%, 2%, 3%. What I care about and what the firm cares about is impact. Are we having meaningful impact in the community? That's what she cared about. Of course, my response, that was a tepid little round of applause. So let's try again. So another person, and this is, we hear about law firms. Law firms are just made up of people, right? There's a woman named Sandy Hauser who leads our entire commercial litigation practice, all right? So it's by far our largest practice. I think it's our most profitable practice. John, is that right? Excellent. He's the numbers guy, he knows this. And here's the thing about Sandy. Her first 5 or 6 years of practice were at what used to be called the National Center on Welfare Law, now the National Center for Law and Economic Justice. And though she's leading our giant commercial litigation practice and has a huge book of business and all that, she also has, at all times, a docket of impact cases with NCLEJ, where she's representing low-income people who are being wrongly denied benefits by state and local governments. Or Brenda Trinidad, who's a magnificent legal secretary in our New York office, who is actually central to our work with Her Justice, where we're seeking U visas on behalf of low-income immigrants who have been survived domestic violence. All of these people are the law firm. So I know there's lots of noise out there and there's lots of unfortunate things, but I'd really ask you to remember that we all need to work together, because all of the Beacon of Justice Award winners, they're all full of people like that. Maybe not exactly Sonia Martin, not exactly Sandy Hauser, and probably not Brenda Trinidad, but actually the same people. We're all here, and it's my absolute pleasure that I get to work with people inside my firm who do this work and in firms all across America. But here's the thing. All of the good intentions, all of the dedication to the community inside law firms would not work without NLADA. Because NLADA is the convener. They're the strategist. They're the builder of infrastructure for all of this to work. Low-income people don't walk into our high-rises looking for lawyers. Right? They go to NLADA members. NLADA brings us to the Equal Justice Conference, where it's a big tent where we meet together to talk about what we can really do. So we rely on NLADA. We take their lead and we listen to them. That's why I was thrilled to host the Just Fund It, the kickoff of the Just Fund It campaign, which is not just talking about low-income people and what benefits they're entitled to. It's talking about justice in a really meaningful way. And justice is important for all of us. And so we take NLADA's lead. And that is why, and I'm about to talk about money, that is why it is so important that we all support NLADA financially, right? We heard earlier, do pro bono work, do the work, but please support them financially. It's especially important, as April said, in this time. They need the dough because there's so much work to do. We have to do the work and open our pocketbooks and give them money. So finally, back to gratitude a little more. I want to thank NLADA, Dentons, and all my friends and colleagues here. I will say one of the joys of being in the pro bono community, I can see Charmaine hang right there. One of the joys of the pro bono community is that we collaborate across firm lines. And so that's the final thing I want to thank actually my firm leaders for is I have a job, which is to manage our pro bono program. But the reality is, one of the things I also love, I see Ted Howard right there. I spent a lot of time with Ted on the LFAA board. One of the things I love is that they have empowered me to go beyond the walls of Dentons, to go beyond just one law firm, to work on this whole ecosystem, because there's a lot of tough stuff we need to deal with. And you can't do it one firm at a time. You can't do it one volunteer at a time. We need to work together. We need to work with public-private, we need to work with the in-house community, and we need to work with legal services. So thank you to my firm for supporting me in my work with the Association of Pro Bono Counsel, ABCO, with the law firm Anti-Racism Alliance. The problems we face are only addressable when we work together. So thank you again to NLADA for this lovely recognition, and please be generous in your support. Thank you.